fellow countrymen and women. Today, we comment or react to the judgment that has been given by the Concourt regarding the eligibility of the former President, Edgar Lungu. Let me start by mentioning the fact that we consider this judgment to be great, brave, and patriotic. We believe that the way in which it has been thoroughly worked on and presented should make every Zambian proud and signifies a number of things. One of those things is the fact that our judiciary has matured in this country to such levels that we are able to come up with such a judgment, regardless of how the outcome was going to be. It has been a tremendous piece of work, and we commend the judiciary for being so judicious and so concerned about making sure that they elaborate and explain every detail concerning the case at hand. But before we proceed, we would like to talk about a few things. There are obviously two parties to this issue. Those that had wanted that President Edgar Lungu be allowed to stand in the 2026 election, and those that felt that President Lungu already had his 2 terms of office and should not be allowed to contest the third. We didn't know until this morning, when the Concourt made this declaration, we didn't know which way it was going to go. Now we do. And because we do, we would like now to address ourselves to a few fundamental issues as an initial reaction. We shall be coming back to the nation to answer certain questions that are going to arise as a result of this. Ladies and gentlemen, to the two parties, we would like to encourage all of us, whether it is those that have been supporting President ECL or those that have been supporting the petitioner, that what is important at this time is to ensure that this judgment is not used for political ends, meaning that we should not use this judgment as a way to ridicule those who seem to have lost the case and try to politicize this judgment. Our country is a democracy. It hinges on 3 pillars that push our democracy forward. And Zambia has been known to be a country that understands how democratic matters operate. We have the executive led by the president. We have the judiciary that is led by the Chief Justice. And then we have the Speaker who leads Parliament. And these ideally are supposed to be 3 independent pillars upon which our democracy hangs. Today, we have seen the demonstration of one of these wings taking its role and doing their very best to ensure that they put out the very best in answering one of the most difficult questions that has faced our nation over the years. So let me address the issues prior to this judgment. We made it very clear on our Facebook and in our statements that we wanted the judiciary to have a free hand to make a decision of which way to go. As Nevers Mumba, I shall continue to ensure that justice, morality, integrity in leadership becomes the hallmark of what I do. It is for this reason that sometimes when we post something on our Facebook, we would make a very unpopular position known, and it could also be that a lot of our comments are against us, even insulting us. But we never shift our position, because truth shall always overcome. And we believe that truth is the element that builds a society. And anybody who is being truthful is not known to be popular. So let me get back to the ruling now as our initial reaction. The Concourt has revisited its decision that was made on the 3 other cases that had been adjudicated by the Concourt. They have vacated that judgment. And a lot of people are concerned about that. But I'm so glad that the judge who read this script today went everywhere to explain in great detail to those that love the rule of law. It reminds me today that we are actually crossing the Rubicon as a nation. The Rubicon of justice, the Rubicon of the rule of law, Rubicon of an intelligent generation that wants to do the right thing regardless of what's going on around us. On the day of inauguration of President Hakainde Hichilema, those of us that remember and those of you that remember, he made a certain statement that I would like to refer to. It is a statement in which he said, time to raise the bar in politics has now come upon us. Meaning that the days of populism, days of cadreism, days of just popular statements that are not based on common sense, based on civility, based on the rule of law, those days are over. This judgment today is a real confirmation of that aspiration by the current president that let's raise the bar for ourselves. We are not a primitive country. We are not a country that is full of people who have no education, no enlightenment, no desire to do the right thing. We are not that type of a country. Zambia is considered one of the most intelligent nations on the continent. We believe in the rule of law, justice, and order in the nation. And this is what this judgment has done for all of us, for us as Zambians. So time to raise the bar of politics is now upon us. We need to elevate our quality of politics from what it used to be before to what we aspire it to become. And the reason that we have raised this issue is because just a few minutes ago, we were privileged to listen to our colleagues from the Patriotic Front, who have also issued a statement concerning this judgment. We are alarmed at the words of Mr. Lubinda, who made a statement that regardless of this judgment, they don't care about it. They are going to go ahead and contradict or oppose or just go ahead and push Mr. Lungu to become the candidate, although the courts have stopped him. Now, this is very symbolic of the Patriotic Front and how it governed this country. And we would like to depart from that type of politics. We remember ourselves as MMD. Whenever we had a positive judgment in our favor, Patriotic Front was not ashamed to say they would not obey what the courts have said. Well, time has changed now. And we want to assure them that moving forward, that hooliganism, that lack of respect for the rule of law is in history now, in the history books of politics for this country. This judgment will be upheld and supported by all the instruments of law to make sure that it's followed through. We appeal to our friends, the Patriotic Front, that it is important for you to obey what the courts say. That's what you used to tell us when you won cases. That's what you used to tell us when you dismissed the petition of 2026 election and told us that it had run out of time. We had to agree with it. Let me now repeat myself that great leaders in our country and great leaders on this continent who put the people first, their nations first, have paid the highest price, even when a ruling or some situation happened against them. They were ready to accept it. I gave the example of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, who was stopped from running for office in 1996 on the issue of the change law of the parentage clause. As angry as he was, he chose the nation above his own personal situation and said, let it go, but let's not burn the country down. We look at Mr. Sata, who also at one time when he felt that the election was unfair to him, and his members wanted to go on the streets, we still remember his voice saying that it's not about Michael Sata. This is about the people of this country. We remember when Hakainde Hichilema, the current president, when his petition was thrown out and said that it had run out of time, and yet it had not yet been heard, We had to convene at that time. And he said to all of us, as we worked together in partnership during that time, that Zambia is bigger than Hakainde Hichilema or all of us that were campaigning. That is, unfortunately or fortunately, the way Zambian leaders who are worth their salt treat the judgments of court. It's not about Nevas Mumba. It's not about HH. And it's not about Mr. ECL. This is about the Constitution, it's about the rule of law, and it's about the Zambian people. So we do not expect that anyone around the country is going to place powers upon himself to destabilize this country because an individual has been told by the courts of law that you've done your 2 terms. There's no hatred here. It is not personal. And let us also be aware that when a decision like this is made, those that are now placing it on the executive and placing it on the president, I think it's a misunderstanding of how democracy works. The president of this country was not sitting on that bench reading that judgment. The president of this country is not the chief justice of this country. He is not the president of the Constitutional Court. Yes, you could have your own views because of who is in power. But the truth of the matter, this is a well thought through, well delivered judgment which has taken into consideration almost every aspect that has been asked over the past number of years concerning this matter. And we salute and congratulate the judiciary for making all of us proud, not because of the way you have ruled, but because of the process you have undertaken and how you have explained how you reached your decision. We think that even if it had gone the other way, but you had explained it in the same way you have explained it, and in their favor, we would still say, job well done. I think this is what justice looks like. And we ask all our colleagues that may be offended by this to accept the fact that the law has spoken. Now, before I proceed, I would like to use this opportunity to mention to all of us, to the Zambian people, that injustice should never be buried by incumbency. Injustice should never be buried by incumbency. Why do I say this? It is important that when a government is in place, and if there be any manipulation of any other wing of government, either the judiciary or the National Assembly or Parliament, when the executive manipulates any one of these 2 wings, they may seem powerful and may seem to be succeeding when that is happening. But like the Bemba say, umulandu taubola. Any unresolved issue, you might cover it up because you're an incumbent, but somewhere along the line, the truth is going to come out. And let us warn everybody here that what we are experiencing today is the greatness of Zambia, the greatness of our people to be able to pursue truth rather than concealed crookedness that could have affected the decision that took place in 2021. It was clear that that judgment was done with political connections and intonations. It was very clear. But because our colleagues were in power, it was okay to cover it up. They overlooked clauses that are so vital in making a decision as to whether President Lungu was eligible or not eligible. They overlooked it. And today the same court went back and picked up those things they overlooked and placed it together with the clauses that they had used earlier on and found themselves wanting. And because they found themselves wanting, they had to do something that is rarely done in the history of our nation. This is phenomena. They vacated their own judgment of those many years ago. And we commend them. It's not a small thing, it's a huge thing. To correct history, there is a price to pay. So let me mention that when we go forward as a country, it should never take the next government to clean up the mess in the previous government. Governments must be self-correcting in the wrongs as they carry on their job as government. And to be clear, if today you are an incumbent leader or incumbent government and you manipulate anything, this judgment shows us that it will not go away. You may get away with it for some time, but there's going to come a time when truth shall rise up. Pilate asked Jesus a question, what is truth? I can answer that question. Truth is that truth that can never be buried, no matter how long it is buried for. Truth will resurrect at a time you least expect it. I think today what we are dealing with a situation in which our former president should have known that this day was going to come. But it's also a warning to the current government to know that we should make sure that whatever we do is above board. We are doing it in the interest of the Zambian people, not in our own interest, but in the interest of the Zambian people. We must remain committed to the rule of law so that this does not repeat itself. To the church, may I encourage all my brothers and sisters that the reason why God has called us is to be the salt of the earth, to ensure that morality, integrity governs us. I know there are political intonations where people think that maybe Mr. Hakainde Hichilema manipulated the judiciary to give this judgment. And those people will continue to think that way for as long as they want. But that is not the truth. The truth of the matter is that there was a mistake that was committed during the time of adjudication. And the court itself has given itself time to exonerate itself and reestablish itself and be able to give a new ruling in this matter. And therefore, to be political about this matter, we are not solving the problem. There is no other pillar in our society that deals with justice issues than the judiciary under the Chief Justice. They have spoken. We have heard our colleagues in the PF saying they don't care about the judgment. You must care about the judgment. You have to care about the judgment. You are going to care about the judgment. Because, yes, you can say whatever you want, but the Bemba say, Ulosha tawamucheba kukanwa. And I said to my fellow Zambians, if there are those that are injured by this judgment, some of us have been injured by judgments before, but we are still here. The law still prevailed, and the state continued to run with all our pain until we got healed. Even our colleagues in the PF are going to get healed. And I think let's find ways in which to respect the very structures and systems that we have created for ourselves. If we decide to disrespect these things that we have created for ourselves, then how do we hope to build a society that can be respected? Today is a great day for Zambia. It's a great day because we are moving away from hooliganism, crookedness, politicizing agencies of government, to teaching a lesson to all of us that if we do not honor these institutions that have been established to protect every Zambian, somewhere down the road, they'll come back and bite us in the back. So today, it's not a question of Mr. ECL losing or the petitioner winning. This victory and this clarification and clarity is for the Zambian people. Tomorrow, as I conclude, it will not be President Edgar Lungu. Tomorrow, it will not be Patriotic Front. Tomorrow, it will not be Nevas Mumba. Tomorrow, it will not be HH. Tomorrow, it will be Zambia and the younger Zambians that will take over from us. They should find laws that have been proven and adjudicated in a manner that it's honest, and they seek to serve the greater interest of the Zambian people. So today we salute the judiciary, and we salute both the sides that participated in this court case. And we also appeal to our colleagues who are supporting President ECL in this matter and have been doing so, to continue supporting him. But the truth of the matter is that the court has spoken, and they may be angry, but the court has spoken. And because the court has spoken, they cannot do anything about it except to go back to find another legal path to ask their questions. For now, I want to thank all of you for giving me this time to speak to you. But these are our initial reactions, and we are not going to get into greater detail of the judgment itself. May God bless our great republic. May God bless Zambia. May God continue to help us in ensuring that the rule of law becomes our chant as we move forward to make Zambia the greatest democracy on the continent of Zambia. I thank you. On the continent of Africa. May God bless you and thank you so much. Zambia shall be saved.